You get to choose how you feel. And if I can choose how I feel over laundry, I promise you can choose how you feel over anything. That's your responsibility. If you don't like how you feel, change it. It takes practice. It takes forcing yourself to not accept anything else, but it is up to you 100% of the time, period. No one can make you feel anything. No situation can make you feel anything. That, my love, is 100% up to you. Welcome to Becoming Tantalum with me, Megan Bonnell. Discover your brightest self in a journey of transformation and resilience. Let's embark on this path together, starting now. Hello, and welcome back to Becoming Tantalum. To all of you moms and all of you who nurture, I'm excited that you're here. I'm your host, Megan, and today we're going to dive into a really hot pot of coffee. Just kidding. A topic that I know is on many of your minds, and that is mom burnout. Yep, it's real. It's exhausting, and it's what we're tackling in this episode called In the Trenches, Managing Mom Burnout. So let's brew some strategies for managing stress and recovering your energy, just like that morning caffeine fix that we all love. So what exactly is mom burnout? It's that feeling of being physically and emotionally just drained by the demands of motherhood. And it's when your mom fuel gauge, if you will, is perpetually on empty. So according to Dr. Cheryl Ziegler, she's the author of Mommy Burnout, it's the result of chronic stress piled up without adequate support or self-care. Does this sound accurate? Sounds accurate to me. So just like your car won't run on gas, you can't run on empty. So the signs of this, and I'm sure we're all very familiar with that, is irritability and fatigue, feeling disconnected from your family, or even detaching from your kids. And let's be honest, it's not like your kids come with the snooze button. If they did, I think it would be broken from all of the use, right? So recent studies, such as one published in the Journal of Affective Disorders, have shown that mindfulness, there's that word again, and cognitive behavioral strategies can reduce all of these symptoms of burnout. So good news, there's an answer out there. And engaging in all of these practices can help to recalibrate your stress response so that you're not always feeling in battle mode. Could you imagine what that would feel like if on the daily basis you were feeling much more calm and in control instead of feeling like you were constantly in a battle? Love that idea. So in a mom group that I have the privilege of working with this mom named Lisa, and she is a mom of 3 and they're pretty little. And she shared her story with us. And I feel like this resonates with so many people. She said that she felt overwhelmed juggling parenting, work, and her personal life. And she started to feel like every day was a bad day. Ouch. Have you been there? Have you been through times like that? Maybe you're there right now. You just feel like you can't win, right? Well, you're not alone. And that's what this episode is really all about and what you can do to avoid that in the future. So we're going to talk about 4 different strategies. The first one is going to be long, and then the next 3 are going to be pretty short. So the first one is that self-care isn't selfish. Now, I'm going to stop right there because I feel like so many people shrug their shoulders, roll their eyes, just turn away when you say self-care. Well, hang in here because this isn't the self-care that I think you're probably thinking of, because taking care of yourself isn't a luxury. So I'm going to just differentiate this right now. It's essential. So scheduling me time, and again, hang with me, is just like any other appointment. You need to set it and then go to that appointment. So many of us hear the term self-care and me time, and we relate that to getting a pedicure or going to the spa or taking a really long bath or going to ladies' nights out. But that, while those are fun activities, is not what I'm talking about. Those can be bonuses in your life, but this is not the daily self-care that I'm talking about. So the meat of self-care is very different, and it's probably different than what you are thinking of. So it truly is just taking care of yourself. And that includes obvious things like you're brushing your teeth and making sure that you get what you need to eat and you get as much sleep as possible, which I know when you have young ones, That's not really possible, but I promise that phase passes. Showering, brushing your teeth, all of that is kind of the low hanging fruit of taking care of yourself. But there are aspects of self care that so many of us disregard and consider not necessary. But I would offer that they are just as important as those tangible actions. So I'm going to go through just a few for you, but I do want to offer that self care is not the same thing as comfort. So as we go through these, you might be thinking, that doesn't sound comfortable. That sounds hard. Well, taking care of yourself is not always comfortable, and doing what's best for you is not always comfortable, but it serves you and it serves your family. It serves your kids. It serves your future. So it makes your tomorrows better than your todays. And that allows you to work towards the life that you want to live instead of being in this holding pattern of a life that's frustrating or that you feel like you're running on empty. So I have one more thought for you to try on before we actually get into what those might look like. Sometimes we talk about these aspects of self-care that I'm going to cover and we think, that's hard. I want something that's easy. Let me offer that you are going to be living in hard either way. So the beautiful choice is that to do something hard that's leading you towards the results that you want in your life is your choice, instead of living in the current hard that you aren't living on a daily basis. But either one of them is hard. You're living in hard right now. So why not choose to live in a hard that's going to yield the results that you want? So just a thought for you to try on, because the things that I'm going to share with you aren't going to monopolize your day. They are small, almost seemingly insignificant changes in the moment, right? When you're doing them. But the compound effect of practicing them consistently is massive. And that is the result that we're looking for. So this hard that we're going to talk about is going to get you out of your current daily hard where there is no end. This hard is working towards something better for you. So you get to pick which hard to experience. And personally, I think I would rather put my energy and my efforts into a hard that's leading me to where I'd like to be. So we're going to talk about just a few here. This is all within self-care, okay? Number one, and I know I'm not alone on this, is self-talk. You are the only voice that you hear nonstop all day long. So if you're telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you keep failing, that you need to do better, you're going to believe that. And if you're thinking you're a terrible mom or wife or friend, you're going to believe it. Watch those sneaky self-talk and thoughts really carefully, because those are the ones that you can change purposefully and intentionally. And that shift in that voice that you hear nonstop every day will shift how you feel and act and the results that you get. You can implement this like one thought at a time. You don't have to change them all at one time. This isn't going to go away tomorrow. But one thought at a time, you can shift to a new thought that you can believe that will change how you feel and act and respond. So I remember that I used to look at everything that needed to get done, right? Like as a mom that works and with kids, and I would think, I'm never going to get all of this done. I'm never going to catch up. I'm always going to be behind. So you can imagine how I felt if that was the story in my mind on repeat, right? I always felt stressed and defeated and hopeless and like I'm climbing up a mountain that I'm never going to get to the top of, and that I wasn't good enough, right? I was always thinking like, I'm sure that other people are getting all of this done and here I am and I can't catch up and I'm always behind. I have so much to do, right? So the feelings that I had that went along with that were terrible. And that was visible in the way that I held myself and in my efforts, in my tone, and even heard very clearly in the words that I chose to use with those around me. And so I shifted that thought. So we're just picking that one concept, that one thought, to at first kind of a neutral one, which was I'm going to focus on one thing at a time and do my best in that moment. That was it. So I'm still accepting that maybe there's a lot going on, but I'm not going to worry about all the lots going on. The mountain I'm climbing, I'm going to focus on one thing at a time, and I'm going to do my best in that moment. And I repeated that to myself every time I heard those little sneaky negative phrases popping up in my mind. And eventually, that thought, I'm going to focus on one thing at a time and do my best in that moment, that became second nature. And that was the thought that was in my head every time something seemed a little overwhelming. And that allowed me to feel motivated to just focus on that one task at hand and to just do my best at that task. And what resulted was that I was more driven and I was more confident and I was able to be proud of my accomplishments as I had them instead of worrying about all the things that I didn't accomplish, right? And I actually accomplished more because I didn't have that negative drama, which makes you so tired and so sluggish and all of that. So I wasn't so tired and I wasn't defeated and I didn't feel hopeless. And I could feel the joy in these little tiny tasks that I was doing, that I was rocking one at a time. And eventually, once that thought became really comfortable, I wanted to, have a better thought that would make me feel even better. And so eventually I worked my way up to, I'm going to rock today. Whatever it is, whatever there needs to be done today, I'm going to go rock today. And I felt confident about that. I had built up evidence that I could do things one thing at a time, do my best at it, and move quickly to the next thing. And so I was never worried about what I didn't accomplish. And I put into place practices and processes that I helped me accomplish as much as possible with much more ease. And that whole change just started with that one shift. It was purposeful, it was intentional, and it was consistent. Every time that thought came into my head that was negative, I just pushed away and said, nope, I'm going to focus on one thing at a time and I'm going to do my best. And really, this concept, that practice, can be applied to any negative self-talk that sneaks up on you. So find one and girl, change that thought. Right? It might take a few steps for you to get to the thought that you want to have, but just change it to something neutral. Pick a thought and watch that magic happen. Okay. So that's one thing in self-care is self-talk. The second is thought work. So self-talk really is a piece of thought work, but thought work is a much broader concept that applies to all of the thoughts that you have. Thoughts are so important to pay attention to because they can be so sneaky and truly determine your results in your day. So the truth is, and I know that we've talked about this before, that you get to choose what you think about any situation. Your thoughts are yours. You might not be able to control the situation, but you 100% control your thoughts about it. And you need to watch those because they determine how you feel and the actions you take and the results that you have. So staying in the mom realm that we're in this month, it's incredibly common to take a child's words and actions personally. It's common. I see it all the time in my clients. But I'd like to offer that it's your choice to do so. No matter what their actions are, no matter what their words are, even the harshest words and actions. So two common ones that come to my mind and are really heavy are a personal hit against you, like, I hate you. Ouch. Or even a kid hitting you. I mean, hopefully we're talking about like little tiny, like toddler style kids here, but that hurts. Right? Literally hurts if you're getting hit, but those words, I hate you, that almost hurts more. But I'd like to offer that they don't have to. So I remember the very first time that I heard the words, I hate you, I wanted to cry and crawl into a corner. I felt like a terrible mom. That was my initial reaction because that's terrible, right? But then I paused and I looked at the situation and I used the steer method. So if you didn't listen to that podcast, go back. And the situation was, I was just told, I hate you by my oldest son. That's the situation, black and white, right? Instead of taking offense or getting hurt, I chose to think, why would he say that? And understand what happened right before that happened, right? Right before he said that. So I chose to think, why would he say that? And also, he must be upset because I know that's not true. That allowed me to be curious and have understanding and empathy about the situation because I would also be upset in the situation that he was in as well. So short backstory, he had a chore that he had to do and he wasn't doing it. When he finally completed it, it wasn't done correctly. And this is like the simplest little thing. It was really just him trying to push boundaries and like see how much he could get away with. And so that was a boundary that my husband and I had set. We had said, if you don't finish your chores, then you can't watch a movie that night. So his siblings were already watching the movie and he had yet to complete this very simple, like 2-minute chore. He was exercising his right to stand up and do or not do what he wants to do. He can do that. And we were exercising our rights to set rules and expectations and follow through on the consequences of those. And that's within our right. So he was frustrated and upset that he wasn't watching the movie currently with his brothers. I get it. I would be upset too. But me being open to not taking those words personally allowed me to feel that empathy and calmly address the situation. I addressed the incomplete chore situation and then calmly addressed the word choice and the consequences of hurtful words. I could have easily yelled back. I could have easily escalated the situation, grounded him for life, right? Been hurt by it, right? Like made that cause all kinds of drama in my mind. But putting in the work to control my thoughts, I was able to control my emotions, act in a very responsive manner instead of lashing out and, escalating the situation. So lessons were learned. We had a great talk. He finished his chore. The young dude then got to go watch the movie with his brothers next to his mama, who was cuddling him because we both agreed that he doesn't hate me and he loves me very much. And so all of that ended fairly quickly and all of the issues were addressed. But that could not have happened if I didn't control my thoughts on that situation. So that pause that I took and the intentional thoughts that I chose to have gave me the power to choose how I was feeling, how I responded, and ultimately the results that I got in that situation. Thought work is by far the most important work you can do in the realm of self-care, but it takes practice and it takes consistency. So you have self-talk and thought work, very related. And then the next one is managing and choosing your emotions. So this is a jaw dropper for so many of my clients when they finally realize that you can actually choose how you feel in any given moment. It is 100% true. And I often hear, well, then why don't you choose to feel happy all the time? Well, because life isn't that way, because you don't want to feel happy all the time. Sad things happen. You have massive losses, disappointment happens, and you don't want to feel happy during that time. But you do have the choice of when you are in any situation, what emotion you want to select. And once you get in that practice, you'll recognize and your jaw will drop too that that is 100% true. You get to choose how you feel. So an example of this might be you have, as a mom, I'm sure, a lot of chores that are like on repeat, right? And so maybe there's one that's like far from your favorite chore. You can approach that with resentment or frustration or anger, like every single time, right? Or you can choose a different emotion that will fuel your actions and the results will be more in line with what you want to feel and what you want to happen, right? So a simple example of this for me is laundry. If you're like me, I do all the laundry and it's never ending. Literally, it's a cyclical process that is never has an end. And I was always frustrated and feeling behind and always resenting my family members for not just walking around naked for a day so I could catch up. But really, I would dread laundry every single day all the time and feel like a failure because it wouldn't get done. And there was constantly baskets and all of this and the mountains of laundry just piled up. And I hated feeling that way. But that only led to more frustration, that I hated feeling that way about all this frustration and resentment and all of that. So it's just a downward cycle circling around a situation that's never ending. But when I learned and really embraced and practiced and got control over choosing how I feel, this was the first thing that I decided to put in action. I was like, if I can feel different about laundry, I could choose my emotions about anything. And yeah, it was that bad, seriously. So I decided that instead of feeling resentment, frustration, and failure, I would choose acceptance and accomplishment and gratitude. Those are all wonderful, right? But how? Well, I accepted a different fact than I had focused on before. I accepted that I agreed to always have clean clothes for my family, and they are. But I didn't necessarily agree that they would always be folded and put away perfectly, right? I didn't agree that there would never be dirty laundry. So I just accepted we have clean clothes. Might not be put away like I want them to, but we have clean clothes. Everybody's got clean clothes. Blanket acceptance. We will always have clean laundry, right? And then accomplishment. Every time I had the opportunity to fold and put away laundry, I would verbally kind of pat myself on the back and say, there you go. One basket put away. Great job. And leave it at that. Who cares how many more baskets there were left? I just took that opportunity to acknowledge that I did great and feel accomplished for however much laundry I did get put away, right? Remember, I have 4 kids. So there's literally like, I don't even know, 1+ laundry basket a day that comes to fruition. So if I don't have the opportunity to fold in a day, I'm already behind, right? So what mattered was that I folded and I put away 1 basket, done and accomplished, period. I would just leave it at that. And then gratitude. I love choosing gratitude. It is my go-to when I don't love how I'm feeling about a situation. There's always, always, always something that you can be grateful for. And it feels so much better than the negative emotions that you have instead. So I would allow myself to feel grateful for having all of this laundry that we had to do. Like literally that we had all of these clothes, that we had all these towels, that we had all these sheets, because it meant that we were clothed, we were taken care of, that, we had clothing options every day. And how lucky are we that we have workhorses of a washer and a dryer that are just, I swear, washing things on repeat and just never fail. Because I've had them that fail before. I'm just grateful that they work and that they are solid and do such a great job. So gratitude is an amazing emotion. And the point is, you get to choose how you feel. And if I can choose how I feel over laundry, I promise you can choose how you feel over anything. That's your responsibility. If you don't like how you feel, change it. It takes practice. It takes forcing yourself to not accept anything else, but it is up to you 100% of the time, period. No one can make you feel anything. No situation can make you feel anything. That, my love, is 100% up to you, always. So I would encourage you to pick one repeated situation in your life that you'd like to change your emotion. So whatever that negative emotion is with that situation, I'd like you to think outside of that box and pick a different emotion that you're going to choose to feel when that situation comes in front of you. Practice it, repeat it again. Force yourself to think thoughts that will elicit that emotion on repeat and watch the magic happen. Okay, the last one in the self-care is really working on your responses over reactions. So this is a big one. And as you'll begin to see, they're all connecting, right? Your thoughts with your feelings, with your actions, with your results. So our reactions, unless we've trained our mind previously, are usually not our first choice if we had the time and space to go back and process the situation. They are usually gut-filled, emotional-filled reactions. So if you have specific reactions, like on repeat, that you're not a fan of, I'm going to encourage you to pick one and work on changing that. Maybe you yell as a parent. Maybe you threaten. Maybe you manipulate. If you want to change it, change it. How do you go about doing that? You change your thoughts, which change your emotions, and that will allow you to respond. As an example, have you ever experienced your children not doing what you asked them to do the first time? I'm sure you have. I hope you have. I think everybody has. I'm pretty sure that every parent on the planet has probably experienced that. When that happens and you ask them 3 or 4 times, do you get frustrated? Do you yell? Do you take away all the favorite things? Do you have some sort of discipline? Like, what is it that you do? If you're not a fan of that reaction, change it. So remember that they are children that are following habits and learning and experiences, and none of it is against you, right? It's their experience. It's not against you. It's only what's going on in their mind. And so finding a technique that allows you to keep your cool and get the results that you want is huge. You can try whispering. Have you ever tried whispering instead of yelling? It's magic. It really is magic. You can try setting expectations in advance. You can try giving them time to think about your request so that they could follow through. All of those are more effective than yelling, threatening, manipulating. That will allow you to change the way that you feel, the course of your day, and potentially even the relationship that you have with your children. So really think about a situation that you have on repeat where you don't like your reaction. What would you like the result of that to be? And in order to get that result, what kind of response would you need to have? What kind of action would you need to take so that you can get that result that you want? And focus on doing that. Okay, so you kind of work backwards on this one. It takes purposeful and intentional choices on your part and consistency, but it's really possible. And so one way to help you with halting your reactions, those knee-jerk reactions, and allowing yourself to respond appropriately is taking a deep breath, or 3, and thinking about the result that you want in that moment and what action you would need to take to get that result. Follow through with that. Regardless of what you're feeling, do it anyway. Responses are always the ones that are in your control and powerful. So pick one reaction that you want to change and just focus on that, just one this week, and turn that reaction into a purposeful response. So that's self-care. I told you that was like a big one. Okay. Another one that you can work on is setting boundaries. So learning to say no, kind of one and the same. They're not the same thing, but they're in the same topic. It's okay to not bake cookies for every single school event, or it's okay to not attend every play date. It's okay to not say yes to every invitation that you get. Remember that boundaries are for you, and respecting the resources you have, whether that's money or time or effort, is for you. Okay. It's not about those around you, and that those are the ones that are negatively affected when you don't respect your own boundaries and don't respect your own resources. So guard your time and guard your efforts and guard your promises carefully, and ensure that they're in line with the life that you want to feel and live. Remember that saying no doesn't require an explanation either. No, thank you is a complete response. You do not owe anybody an explanation. This week, I would love to have you think about what you could take off your plate by just saying no, or by holding a boundary you set, and how that would affect your life in a positive way. Just one. Those results, what will happen if you do that, are the motivation that you need to keep those boundaries and to say no the next time a situation arises where you feel like that's a better response. Okay, so that's number 2, the boundaries and saying no. The third is mindfulness, and this is another one where people like roll their eyes, but stay with me. I would love for you to try to start each day with just 5 minutes of mindfulness. So it could be just breathing, it could be meditation, it could just be watching your thoughts, it could be journaling, it could be anything. We all can take that 5 minutes, okay? 5 minutes. This is a gift to you. Before the chaos starts, this is one of the best tools that you can implement immediately. Like, you literally could do this tomorrow morning. It's not for reading. It's not for scrolling on social media. It's not for watching TV. It's not for listening to songs. It's just silent, calm, self time. Okay. So whether it's breathing, journaling, gratitude journal, mindful meditation, whatever it is that you want to do, take that 5 minutes to set your brain calm before you get into the chaos. And the last one is show up. I cannot stress the importance of this, regardless of who you are. If you are a mom, if you're in business, if you are an employee, if you own your own business, it doesn't really matter. If you're a friend, show up. So one of the best things that we can do for ourselves is to keep the commitments that we make, not just to ourselves, but to everybody else. And again, back to ourselves. So you schedule something, and I don't care if it's with someone else or you schedule something for you. Show up. You say you're going to do something. Show up. You plan on getting something done. Show up. That builds confidence in yourself. It teaches your mind that you can do hard things and things that maybe you don't want to do or feel like doing in the moment. The best action you can ever take for yourself is to show up. And I don't mean that you show up begrudgingly. And I don't mean that you show up with reservation. And I don't mean that you show up with resentment. I mean you show up and you do your best you in that moment. And obviously that's a little different day to day. Everybody knows that, but you show up, not for drama, not for attention, not in the victimhood, just show up as you. The more you do that, the more confidence you have, the more evidence your brain will have that you can do that. Show up. The most important appointments to show up for are the ones you make for yourself. Never, ever, ever miss those. So I'll have an entire episode on this later because it really is that important. But for this week, whatever your commitments are, whatever your plans are, whatever lists you make, show up. You don't want to? Do it anyway. You don't feel like it? Do it anyway. Your future self will thank you. So this week, I would love for you to focus on one small piece of each of those things. So self-care, including your self-talk and your thought work and choosing emotions and responses over reactions. So pick one of those if you want to just pick one, but work on something for self-care, something for boundaries and saying no, something for mindfulness for those first 5 minutes when you get up so you can set your brain right, and then showing up. So recently, this is why all of this is so important. So recently, I've spoken with several experts, including a fabulous lady named Dr. Jane Vanston. She's a psychologist that specializes in maternal mental health, hence why this is so relevant to this. So she emphasizes that the importance of recognizing early signs of burnout is huge and addressing those head on. She said, think of it as preventative maintenance for your mental health, just like you'd prevent wear and tear on your car. So while we don't think that we have time for this maybe, or that it's just extra work that's going to fill our plates, we can't afford not to. Avoiding all of this work that we talked about means that you're going to continue to live with overfilled plates. You're going to feel down about it. You're going to continue to have that negative self-talk and not loving your life. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. It is time to start loving your life as it is, controlling your mind, and working towards a life that you dream of. That can start today. Little efforts, a little at a time, minutes total in any given day, just minutes. The result is not immediate, but it is incredibly extreme in the best way. The compound effect of all of those little minutes over time is extreme and amazing. If you want to feel better, you want to live better, you want to love better, you can't afford not to do this maintenance. So the key takeaway for today is that burnout does not mean you're failing. I want you to understand that. It means you're human. It means you're juggling a lot. Implementing self-care strategies, setting boundaries are not just good for you. The mindfulness, the showing up, it's not just good for you. It's necessary for maintaining a healthy emotional state so that you can continue to thrive and be there for your family. This is for you so that they get the benefit of you being healthy. So choose to love the process. Right? It's a process. It doesn't happen today. Be proud of the small little steps you take. Be proud of those minutes that you take each day. Be proud of those tiny little reactions you change, those tiny little thoughts that you change, and watch in amazement as your world changes. If you don't want to do this alone, join me on Wednesdays at noon this month for the Mom Hour. Reach out to me on the socials at Tantalum Coaching, or you can text or call at 909-855-4755. That is a free and safe space for you as a mom to grow, be in the company of other marvelous moms that are just like you. So that's a wrap on today's episode. Remember, it's not selfish to recharge your own batteries. It is essential. Nothing's broken here. You just need to charge your batteries, and that's a consistent effort. So be sure to tune in next week for more empowering discussions focused on motherhood. And if this episode resonated with you, I would love so much if you would share it with a fellow mom who might need a little boost. But until next time, keep thriving, keep loving, and keep laughing, even when it's just about how much laundry there is to do. So bye for now. Remember, you're doing a great job. You do make a difference, and this too shall pass. So enjoy it while it's here. Thank you for joining me today. If you want to take all of these concepts and tools to a deeper level, apply them to your life, and watch the transformation happen, I would love for you to join the Tantalum Tribe. That's a monthly membership where all of our community has access to live coaching, self-paced courses, guest coaches, podcast study guides, anonymous question boards, and more. You too can transform your life using the tools and strategies that we have with accountability built in from our community. I really hope that you join us at tantalumcoaching.com. That's TANTALUM coaching.com. Just click join the tribe. I can't wait to see you in there.
an Ironic Media production. Visit us at ironickmedia.com.